Morning, everybody. Wind's already starting to pick up, but I'm still hoping I can get, well, I should be able to get harrowing within an hour here. It was really dry, but a bit cold last night. Seems like the canola stubble is just dried right down, and so here. This field was my worst hit one as far as sclerotinia, and it also had, when the tornado came through, again, it wasn't on the ground. I think it was pretty much right over top of this, or maybe just to the north end is kind of where it came through, just on the direction of everything, because that field across the road was blown straight south, and this was kind of south and a bit east. So yeah, you can't tell what it was. I didn't harrow this, Dad did. But there was a lot of really, really flat stuff. And we hit it with the heavy harrows. And we don't normally like to do that to canola stubble. Last year, everything was so green with regrowth, we probably could have, but we just didn't have time. This year, we had the extra manpower, and we've had a lot of time. Right now, we've only got 425 acres that hasn't been harrowed, so that's going to save us a lot of time in the spring. But you can see this stuff. It's like, it was DeKalb, so it's a skinnier stalk. That's halfway up, but that's probably right there. That's about as big as it gets. There's one that's cut right from the bottom. Can't really see it. But bone dry, breaks off to nothing, which is, maybe we should have did it with the mid harrows instead, but I don't think it would have made a whole lot of difference. It almost looks like it was cultivated out here. I wouldn't say it looks like it was disked, but yeah, I like to leave some stubble to catch snow, but I don't think it's going to catch much snow. I gotta get this guy fueled up and then move a truck to the next field so that I can get out, or get home at the end of the day. I got a supper to go to tonight. So yeah, we're just gonna hammer it out with this, and then Dad can probably, I got a busy week. I got a supper tonight. I have to help, like, I'm on the curling rink board, so I gotta paint ice tomorrow. That'll take a few hours. And then we got a family supper tomorrow. Monday I'm wide open, I think. And then Tuesday I'm going to Saskatoon for 3 days. And then, yeah, Thursday evening I should be back. So yeah, it's a busy few days here. But we're gonna try and hammer out. I don't think we'll get done today just based on the time I gotta leave. .610 Delta track, pulling these heavy harrows is way overkill. We often pull these harrows with the 2375. It works it pretty good. I've never had to go like full aggression on it, where I've got the indicator over there all the way up to 5. This stuff I've been doing at maybe 2.5, where it's not so disturbed, or not, where it doesn't need as much disturbing or distribution, as in where it's not right flat. I'll back it off a little bit, probably down to 1.5, 2, but most of the time yesterday it was at 2.5. I don't know where Dad had it on this, but it looks very comparable to this. So yeah, this would be really nice to not have to do in the spring, unless it's really, really, really wet in the spring, and then we're just tickling it with the harrow to help it dry out a bit. Dad dropped something on me this morning that was kind of shocking, to say the least. Shocking in a good way. we both have a habit of just kind of scrolling through Ag Dealer, seeing what our equipment's worth or something we'd like to get into. We'll look, oh, what's our 4440 kind of asking price going for, or 2375, or good examples of combines. What are ours worth, and what our trade, like what we're trying to get into, worth, so we can kind of ballpark what our trade's going to be, and this, that, the other. Something I definitely haven't, and I don't think Dad did until yesterday, was look at our old mid harrows. And they're not new by any stretch of the imagination. They're 2008, I think. But just a 70-foot Borgo, I think they're called 6,000 mid harrows, or 7,000, 70 feet. Now, ours have some scored up cylinders, which I was planning on taking off and getting remachined and re-chromed this winter. And we were sitting there going, God, there's a lot of harrows on here. I want to say there's like 210. Maybe it was more than that. Doesn't matter. But I had it priced out a year and a half ago-ish. And we're not looking at putting anything flashy on. We're not planning on doing 5,000 acres a year with it. But it's nice to have a second set of harrows. And he goes, yeah, I was looking on Ag Dealer last night. I do that all the time. I wasn't on Ag Dealer last night. He found our harrows. He said they're still going for $30,000. What? Because when I bought into the farm, we valued them at $15,000, I think, 15 or 20. So I paid half. I bought my uncle's share out. And maybe that's what they were at the time. And they were worn out, and, a couple things need fixing. Okay, yeah, it seemed like a good valuation at the time. And I want to say, if I remember right, we did look at Ag Dealer to see what they were worth. And I want to say it was about $20,000. But that was 6 years ago. Dad's looking, seeing 30 now. And now we're both like, well, maybe it is worth spending $6,000 or $7,000 on harrows to get it in good shape again. So that might be a winter project for us. Yeah. We got to make sure we find the right ones. But I was shocked, to say the least, when he told me, yeah, $25,000 to $30,000. You saw one that was a few years newer, but the exact same. And they're asking $35,000 for it. Holy, wow. Shocking to say the least. Something else I had in mind for those old harrows, I don't know. I recall seeing a Mike Mitchell video. If I remember right, the title was something like Let's Go Edging, or something to do with edging. And he had an old harrow bar with a Valmar on it, but he had no harrows on it. And he used that to spread edge. Like edge, if you're not a farmer, edge is a granular herbicide that is you don't really call it systemic, but it's residual. It stays on the surface, and then it creates a film for a while. And certain plants will grow through that, and they'll get sick and die from it. Others will not, and it's really good to put ahead of, say, I think he was using it on lentils. I've never used edge, but I do want to get into doing some of that, maybe a couple quarters every year. Now, the other option, and they do say it's kind of best to put it right on top. I was thinking of using these heavy harrows and putting a Valmar on it too. And I don't know if it would be, I'd have to talk to a few people. I've seen lots where it's ahead of the harrows. I almost wonder if it would be better behind the harrows. I don't know. We're going to do Winds from the south and going to rotate to the, I guess, from the west a little bit. So I'm going to want to go this way, pretty much same way it was. That's the same way we combined it by the look of it. From the south and the west. I really don't want to go this way. I want to go that way. Damn. And actually, if you look, we didn't harrow this last year. You see the Durham stubble is one way. Canola stubble's slightly different. I'd like to be able, I don't know, we'll see what kind of job it does. I'm going to call that, so that's 90, I don't know, 105, maybe I'll do. But, I don't know, I've talked to a few people. They've got a Delta track. This Trimble works really good. Like I said, aside from the touch screen. Just waiting on my... Oh, satellite is good. I didn't want that. I want... God. Okay, that's what I wanted. RTX is on. It works really good with the seeder. I use it on the grain cart too. When you're doing high-speed stuff, like over 6 mile an hour, it's kind of finicky. And it doesn't... I think if it was a front wheel steer instead of articulated, it would be a lot better on the harrows or a high-speed disc. But we'll turn this on. Yeah, that's my big complaint on it. Oh yeah, you're being all sorts of fussy right now. You think I'm going backwards? You gonna figure your stuff out? There it is. So, I don't know if the new, I think they're called 1050 or 1060 with the FMX or whatever it's called, it'll a whole lot better, or if it's just a problem with our steering valves in here, that they don't go fast enough, or maybe it's just settings in here. So if anybody has a CFX 750 on a Versatile, let me know. I would love to know what settings you have for your auto steer, your sensitivity, and your aggressiveness, and that kind of stuff. Get up to speed a little better. And take a look. You can see how the wind just blew everything flat. Snap things off. Try to go through this in the spring if it's a damp morning, or even if the ground is wet. All it's going to do is just ball up on the shanks. So unfortunately, I like to leave canola stubble, a lot of it, but usually the last couple of years, now that we have the contour buddies, we kind of set them as high as we can, which is about 11 inches. But you can see we're cutting 4 or 5 inches. Like, that's normally the height we cut our cereals at if they're not flopped over. And we're still not getting everything. I want to say we probably left 2 or 3 bushels behind, which sucks. Not on the whole field. Probably in this area it's probably a little higher, but yeah, it's just something you gotta deal with. Maybe if we had the FD2s with that contour max, we could maybe adjust more on the fly rather than being stuck at one height. but there's not a whole lot we can do about it. Canola sure, like this stuff got desiccated, so it's definitely drier. This is in vigor as well, and it went flat. Didn't show much for signs of sclerotinia out here. I think that was more just a timing issue, but you can, over here we had the trucks, so it kind of got chewed up. But a lot of the field has just that low layer, and you don't want to do a bad job of seeding. So unfortunately, we're probably going to lose a little bit of moisture in the spring. This Invigor stuff, it is still leaving some stalks, but not a good layer like here. So find the spot and cut an AB line. It does look like I'm going to be a couple of degrees different from how things were harvested, not sown. So that's good. I'm guessing they were 25 degrees off. I set it about 15. So, get some more speed going. Do a lap of this guy. That's why I don't want to go the other direction. Would do a lot better job. I should say, wouldn't do a lot. It would do probably a better job, but you wouldn't be able to see anything, and then your air filters get all clogged up too. Oh, getting a little far away, but that's not going to matter. Yeah, it's quite the carpet right there. I'm usually doing this in 13.